Rome was not built in a day, but one man changed Rome. But who was he, and what did he do? Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today, we will be talking about Julius Caesar, the man considered to be one of the greatest leaders of all time, and whose name is synonymous with power and glory. His story is an incredible one filled with many ups and downs, including a civil war, a dictatorship, and an assassination. Gaius Julius Caesar was born into an old and established patrician family on July 12, 100 BCE. As a young man, he held various influential positions within the Roman Republic, including military tribune, quaest, praetor, and consul. He rose to prominence for his successful military campaigns in Gaul, where he defeated the Helvetians, the Belgae, and the Germans. After returning to Rome in 46 BCE, he was appointed dictator. He went on to conquer Egypt and make Cleopatra his lover. This made him very powerful, because now he controlled the riches of the Egyptian treasury. With this money, he funded public works projects throughout Rome, including the construction of roads, aqueducts, and public buildings. He also enacted land reforms, which granted land to poor citizens and veterans of Rome's civil wars. And he introduced a new calendar, which became known as the Julian calendar. It was the first calendar to have a month named after him, which goes on to show how popular he was at this point in history. However, not everyone was a fan of Caesar. Many of the Roman elite saw him as a threat to the Republic and were envious of his power. They feared that he would become a king and end the centuries-old Roman Republic, and so they plotted against him. On March 15, 44 BCE, a group of senators led by Cassius and Brutus attacked Caesar as he entered the Senate House. Caesar was stabbed more than 20 times, but amazingly, he survived the initial attack. However, when he realized that his own guards were part of the conspiracy, he fled to the Senate floor, where he was ultimately killed. Caesar's death plunged Rome into another civil war. His adopted son Octavian, also known as Augustus, defeated his enemies and emerged as the first emperor of Rome. So what can we learn from Caesar's life and death? Let's talk about some of the lessons. Firstly, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Caesar's story is a classic example of this. He started out as a young, ambitious politician who wanted to serve the Roman Republic. But as he rose to power, he became more and more ruthless and autocratic. In the end, he was so powerful that he was practically a king in all but name. This didn't sit well with the Roman elite, and they saw him as a threat to the Republic. Next, never underestimate your enemies. Caesar's enemies were the same people who had helped him to get where he was. He thought that he could trust them, but in the end, they betrayed him and murdered him. This is a lesson that we can all learn. Just because someone is powerful and successful doesn't mean that they are untouchable. We should always be aware of the dangers of power and never let our guard down. Thirdly, don't trust appearances. Caesar was a master of deception. He knew how to put on a good show, and he used this to great effect. For example, he hosted lavish parties and banquets and dressed in expensive clothes. He also built impressive public works projects and gave away free grain to the poor. All of this was designed to make him look good and win over the hearts and minds of the Roman people. However, beneath this veneer of wealth and power, Rome was actually going through a very difficult period. The civil wars had devastated the city, and the economy was in sharp decline. Furthermore, Caesar's lavish spending was actually bankrupting the state. So while he may have seemed like a benevolent leader, in reality, he was actually destroying Rome. Finally, be careful of the Ides of March. The Ides of March is a famous phrase that refers to the day of Caesar's assassination. It has since become synonymous with danger and doom. So if you ever find yourself in a precarious situation, just remember the Ides of March and be careful. Well, that's it for today's video. Let us know what you think. Did Caesar get the credit he deserved? Or was he too ambitious and power-hungry? You can leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.